Did you know that the identity of Bitcoin's creator remains a mystery? A person or group under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto introduced Bitcoin in 2009 and vanished from the internet in 2010, leaving behind this innovative and disruptive technology. Let's take a step back to the late 2000s. The world was in the grips of a financial crisis, banks were failing, and trust in financial institutions was at an all-time low. Amidst this chaos, a 9-page white paper surfaced on an obscure mailing list for cryptographers. The title, Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. The author, a person or group going by the name Satoshi Nakamoto. This white paper outlined a revolutionary new idea, a decentralized digital currency that operates without a central authority. Unlike traditional currencies which are controlled by central banks, Bitcoin would be governed by complex algorithms. No government, no bank, and no third party would be involved, just pure mathematics and cryptography. Satoshi Nakamoto actively communicated with other developers to improve the Bitcoin software until sometime in 2010. Then, just as mysteriously as they had appeared, they disappeared. They left behind the open-source Bitcoin project and faded into the annals of the internet, never to be heard from again. Despite numerous attempts to unmask Satoshi's true identity, we are still in the dark. Some believe Satoshi is a man living in California, others think it's a group of companies or even a woman. The truth is, we may never know. What we do know is that Satoshi Nakamoto left behind a digital currency concept so powerful that it has disrupted the financial world. The mystery of Satoshi Nakamoto adds to the intrigue of Bitcoin. It's a story that involves technology, finance, and a dash of mystery. It's a story about how an unknown person or group took on the financial establishment with nothing more than an idea that continues to challenge our understanding of money, value, and trust. So, that's the mystery of Bitcoin's origin. Now let's delve deeper into what Bitcoin really is. In simple terms, Bitcoin is digital money, a type of cryptocurrency. But there's so much more to it than that. Let's break it down. Bitcoin is a decentralized digital currency. Now what does that mean? Well, it means there's no central authority, like a bank or government controlling it. In the world of Bitcoin, power is distributed amongst its users. It's like a community garden, where everyone who owns a plot has a say in how things are run. Now let's talk about transactions. Imagine you're at a coffee shop, and you want to buy a cup of Joe with Bitcoin. You don't need to swipe a card or hand over cash. Instead, you send your Bitcoin directly to the coffee shop over the internet. This is what we call a peer-to-peer transaction. But how do we know these transactions are legitimate? That's where network nodes and cryptography come in. Network nodes are like the community watch of Bitcoin, keeping an eye on all transactions. When you buy that coffee, these nodes go to work, verifying your transaction. They use cryptography, a kind of digital code breaking, to ensure everything is above board. And where does this all happen? On the blockchain, a public ledger where all confirmed transactions are recorded. It's like a giant open book where everyone can see all the transactions but no one can change what's been written. The beauty of Bitcoin lies in its transparency and security. With every transaction publicly recorded on the blockchain, it's almost impossible to make a fraudulent transaction. And because it's decentralized, no one entity has control over your money. Your Bitcoin belongs to you and you alone. But let's not forget, Bitcoin is still a currency. You can use it to buy goods and services, invest in it, or even hold on to it in the hope that its value will increase. It's like any other money, but with a digital twist. While the concept might sound complex, the main thing to remember is Bitcoin is a new type of money that can be sent over the internet. At the heart of Bitcoin is a technology called blockchain. But what is blockchain exactly? Picture this: a massive public ledger, accessible to anyone and everyone around the globe. This ledger contains a record of every single Bitcoin transaction that has ever taken place. Fascinating, isn't it? This is essentially what blockchain technology is. Now let's break it down a bit further. Imagine a chain, and each link on this chain is a block. But these aren't just any blocks. They're blocks of information, blocks of data. Each block contains a list of transactions. When you make a transaction using Bitcoin, that transaction is added to a block. But here's the kicker. Once a block is filled with transactions, it can't just be added to the chain willy-nilly, it must be verified. And who does this verification? Well, a network of computers, or nodes, spread across the globe. They check the transactions in the block against the history of all transactions on the blockchain. If everything checks out, the block is added to the chain. Now you might be wondering, what's stopping someone from tampering with past transactions? Well, that's the beauty of blockchain. Each block contains not only a list of transactions but also a unique code called a hash. This hash is like the block's fingerprint. It's created using the transactions in the block and the hash of the previous block in the chain. Any changes to a block, however minor, will change this hash. So if someone tries to alter a transaction, the hash of the block will change, making it obvious that something fishy is going on. And since the hash of each block is included in the next block, changing a single block will also make all following blocks invalid. This makes Bitcoin's blockchain highly secure and practically tamper-proof. So, blockchain is essentially the DNA of Bitcoin, ensuring its integrity and security. And just like DNA, it's a complex system, but one that holds the key to understanding the workings of this revolutionary digital currency. You've probably heard of Bitcoin mining, but it's not about pickaxes and hard hats. It's a different kind of digging. Picture a vast digital landscape filled with complex puzzles that only the most powerful computers can solve. That's the world of Bitcoin mining. Bitcoin mining is like the heartbeat of the Bitcoin network. It's a process that verifies transactions and adds them to the public ledger, also known as the blockchain. But how does it work? Let's break it down. Imagine you're a Bitcoin miner. You're not physically digging, but rather, your powerful computer is solving complex mathematical problems. These problems are essentially locks on Bitcoin transactions. Once your computer finds the solution, it unlocks the transaction, verifies it, and adds it to the blockchain. This is what we call solving a block. Now you might be wondering, why would anyone want to spend their time and resources on such a complex task? Well, the answer is simple: reward. When a miner successfully solves a block, they are rewarded with a certain amount of Bitcoin. This reward is halved approximately every 4 years in an event known as the halving. The latest halving occurred in 2020, reducing the reward from 12.5 to 6.25 Bitcoin. Mining also serves another crucial purpose. It creates new Bitcoin. This is how Bitcoin enters circulation. It's a bit like gold mining, where gold isn't created but rather discovered. Similarly, Bitcoin isn't created by miners, but they discover new Bitcoin by solving these mathematical problems. However, this isn't an easy task. The difficulty of these problems adjusts approximately every 2 weeks, keeping the creation of new blocks stable despite the increasing power of mining hardware. This mechanism makes sure that not just anyone can mine Bitcoin, maintaining its scarcity and value. So, what's the takeaway here? Bitcoin mining isn't about digging in the dirt, it's about using powerful computers to solve complex puzzles, verify transactions, and keep the blockchain secure. In essence, Bitcoin mining is the process that allows Bitcoin transactions to happen and keeps the blockchain secure. You might be wondering, why does Bitcoin matter? What's the big deal? Well, let's dive into the reasons why Bitcoin is not just a trendy topic, but a significant leap in how we perceive and transact value. First, Bitcoin represents financial freedom. It's a currency that isn't controlled by any government or financial institution. This means that you're not bound by the whims of banks or the instability of your country's economy. Second, Bitcoin has shown a potential for high returns. It's not uncommon to hear stories about early adopters who became millionaires overnight. But remember, with high reward comes high risk. Third, Bitcoin might just be the future of transactions. As more and more businesses accept Bitcoin as payment, it's becoming easier to use Bitcoin for everyday transactions. And with the advent of Bitcoin ATMs and Bitcoin debit cards, spending your Bitcoin is becoming as easy as swiping your card at the grocery store. Last, but certainly not least, is the idea of decentralization. Bitcoin is powered by a network of computers, not a central authority. This means that it's not prone to the same manipulations or corruptions that traditional currencies are. Bitcoin isn't just a type of currency, it's a groundbreaking technology that has the potential to change the world. And you, yes you, can be a part of this change. So, keep digging, keep learning, and who knows, maybe one day you'll be the one explaining Bitcoin to the next generation of curious minds.